Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to work again on my Stitch the Seasons. Now, I've been busy doing seed stitch. My goodness, I'm nearly at the end of the piece, this last little corner. So I have done all around the bird and I have stitched the fly stitch into all of those washed out shadowy leaves. And I'm working my way down here. So I've outlined them. I'll come back and do the fly stitch and then seed stitch in the gaps. And here's Fudgy. Come on, Fudgy. Why do you have to walk over everything? Pop him down. He's been sitting quietly here for ages. And then the moment I start talking, it draws him in. So what else have I done? Oh, the words. I haven't stitched the words yet. I've just hemmed it and just going to put my phone on silent. I've hemmed it around the outer edge. I know that's the size of my piece and roughly the location. So I haven't got back to that, but that's okay. I'll pop that in the basket for the project. And I've just pulled out the pieces that I think I'll need for the iris. So I'm going to finish him next. Get him out of the way. So first thing first, let's get some orange into the center of that flower. That needle's no good. That's my seed stitch needle. So we need something with a little bit bigger eye. This will do. Okay. So I hope you're all well. This piece is really coming together. I can't believe how much background work there was there, but that's okay. It's nearly done. A little bit each day. Let's just move these bits and pieces out of my way a little bit. Now we've got some really long lineal strokes. I know the other iris had French knots through the center. I'm thinking of trying something else. Let's do a couple bullion knots. Why not, I say? They don't have to be the same. Let's see what it looks like. I can always undo it. Oh yeah, I like that. Nice long lineal style of knot. Now I might just zoom in for a second or two. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the old bullion knot. There's heaps of tutorials out there that will talk you through the technique, so to speak. And those ladies use the right words. I tend to be, wrap it around the post and pull it through and it should be okay. But I do know how to do them, so if you're a visual learner, just watching the action is enough. That's me. I just need someone to show me the technique. But as for remembering, what I'm supposed to be doing, as in the steps, that's not me. So I'm wrapping it around. I can hear Fudgy, he's gone to the next room. He's gone looking for Dad. Mum's boring. Do you like this? This is an interesting way of filling in the center of a flower. It's a little bit fun. Gives a nice raised, chunky effect. Just tuck. Am I even on camera? I'm not even on camera. Oh my goodness, guys. All right. I might have been briefly or not. So I can actually, I've got the cradle that holds the iPhone is pretty much covering the center of my screen. Yes, Fudge, he's back. He can't find Dad. So he's come back. Now he's heading to his bowl for breakfast. He's already had breakfast, but he's having a top up. There we go. I'm on camera. I'm wondering if I should stop the video and refilm that, but I do apologise if you are new and you've got still no idea on how to do bullion stitch. I'm going to do one last one. This is your last chance to get a visual on the topic. Goodness me. And I'm running out of thread. Let's hope I've got enough to get me there. Wrap it around the needle. Yep. Pull it through. Keep your finger on it so it doesn't unravel, and then just encourage that little stitch to lay down. There we go. At least there's one, maybe two that you've seen on camera. So I might just flip it over, knot that off. I tell you, who'd be a YouTube creator? I tell you, it's bad enough having to, you know, create, let alone having all the tech side of things. Let me just zoom out. Oh, that's in, that's out. Oh, bit of a hot mess today, it would seem. All right, now I've got a little bit of ribbon already up here, but I thought I really want to do a little bit more bold ribbon work down here. The other thing, I've got these scrappy bits left and I'm sick of them rattling around. They came in a pack fabric and bits and pieces from Purveyor of Textiles. So I'm determined to stitch in, see there's 2 strands of that one and this is a different one. I'm going to use them, they're gone. And then that little swatch of paper can go in the bin. So let's just make these disappear. And I will be very satisfied that if the whole project came down to a couple threads going into something and forever gone, the girl would be happy. Now, what colour have we got? We've only got 2. We might work in the throat here, just with some long and short stitches. Even if I don't get that second one done, because, you know, riveting viewing for you guys. But I know you're all stitching. You're just listening to me. You're not watching. You're not learning a bloomin' thing from me, are you? You're all just busy focused on something else. There we go. Just get some stitches in there. Here comes the Fudge. He's had his breakfast. Is he now going to come over here and annoy us? Hey, Fudge. I've laid a few mats down in my room here to help with the little echo that you can hear, but it hasn't really helped. I really need to find myself a nice comfy chair to sit and stitch in. I've got plenty of room directly in front of me, but I'm in no rush because I do need to bring my big craft table up to the Barham house. It's sort of part of the final move of furniture. But we didn't want to strip the house completely in Brisbane because we do need to try and sell it. And if we take all the furniture out, it'll look very bare. So my big table is still in Brisbane. But it doesn't help my echo. So I think once that comes into play, and then once it's in, I can then see what space I want left. I don't really need a chair in here to sit and stitch. I've got better places I could go. I probably wouldn't mind a cutting table, and I own one of those. When I got my sewing machine, I got a horn sewing table. You know, they fold out, and your sewing machine drops down into them. Well, around the same time I bought it, I bought myself a cutting table as well. And I don't really have it up and in use because my room just doesn't have the space for it. It only has one side of it up, and it was more of a somewhere to pop the projects I was working on than an actual cutting table for fabric. I would love that cutting table to find a home in this next house because it would just be handy. And because it's high, you're not stooping over your table. My craft table's a little bit low. So if you're doing a day of cutting fabric, not that I really do, but let's say you do, by the end of the day, you've got cramps between your shoulder blades, which is not good. So I really, really would like to see that table opened up and used. And all those little bits and pieces are going to help with the filling the room to help the echo. What a pretty purple. I might find that most of this flower could be stitched just with these scraps, which is not a bad thing because in the first flower I used these two. And if I was to focus on these colours for the next flower, at least I would get a different style of flower, which is not a bad thing. Fudgy's in my cupboard. Where are you, Fudgy? Oh no. I don't know. See, last house, Fudgy was in the garage at the end of the hallway, and my craft room was sort of halfway along the hallway. So he'd come and visit, but he'd very quickly go back to his garage, to his bunk, and go back to sleep for the day, because I film in the morning. But in this house, Fudgy's bed, his bunk, is in my room with me because the garage is just way too far away. And I wanted Fudgy close. But now, Fudgy's very much part of videoing. I've never really had that. So I can't decide if it's a blessing or a curse. If Fudgy just have his breakfast and go back to bed, and then when I'm finished filming, we can hang out. I don't know. Fudgy does what Fudgy wants. Isn't that how it goes with cats? And he's gonna meow and tell me all about what he thinks. So I've just got a little bit of thread here. Just going to use that up. He's smooching my ankle. Talk about distractions. So that was one piece. That went further than I thought. That's great. That second piece, I think we'll take to the top of this flower and stitch a bit of it down through here, just to blend that pretty sparkly look. And we want to do some weaving too. Maybe this thread here, it's a little bit thicker. Maybe that would be good for weaving. Who knows? We'll get there. So let's just drop some stitches up here. He's coming up. You're coming up, Fudge. Oh, he's a little lost soul today. Hey? You can see he's thinking. He's standing there thinking. Do I want to go back? Oh, he's just tapped me on the thigh. Come on, Fudgy. Stop. Down tools. Fudgy cuddle. Oh, Fudgy. Have a little squeeze of the pussycat. There's his ears. We might give him a look at his face. You guys haven't seen his face for a little bit. See, there's the Fudgy. Hey, push, push. Yeah. you go to the end of the table and find yourself a spot to sit. Okay. Distracted. Back to stitching. So what I'm doing is just up the top here, following the lines of, there's like streaks of paint the artist has put down this petal. I think I'm just going to follow that streaky feel. So you can see how there's lines in there? And there's a line down there. Just gonna, oh gosh, seriously? It's raining here today. I think that's probably why Fudge is a little bit out of sorts. He can't go out for his morning sit and think, where he contemplates things. So he's had his breakfast and now he's sort of, well, I want to go outside and sit in the morning sun, and he can't. He's been to the door, like you can't convince him that he can't. So you've got to open the door. He put one paw out, had a sniff of the air, and then turned around and abruptly came back in. And I'm like, well, I told you, son. You can't tell him. He has to figure it out himself. Yeah, I like this. This has made it look real skeletal. Gosh, I hope I'm in camera. Those bullion knots were a disaster, weren't they? The shower of rain's got quite heavy. I raced around with some spray, trying to spray some of the weeds yesterday. Gosh, I can't wait till we get turf. I just, oh. And there's a prickle grass up here that gets this really nasty little prickle on it, and it'll catch onto your clothes just by passing. You only need to tap the stem of it and they flick. And they're just nasty. And there's a whole patch of them that has sprung up. So I went out there with the scissors. The neighbours must think I'm crazy. I went out there with the scissors and a bucket, and I snipped all of the mature heads off first, because I thought if I spray them, they're just going to drop to the ground and the next generation of prickles is there waiting to happen. So my husband was doing a few chores around the other side of the house, and he's come back around the house and seen me there with the bucket and scissors, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm snipping the heads off the nasty prickle so that I think I want to stop there. There's 3 petals there. I don't have enough thread to come into these 2, so I think we'll do something different. So we'll keep that little guy there. I'm going to end that bit of thread off, and maybe I can use that little morsel somewhere else down the bottom there. I think I can. So yeah, here I am out with a pair of scissors trimming a tuft of grass of its prickles. I bet the neighbours would have looked out the fence and said, look at those crazy new people that have moved in. She's going to cut her weeds with scissors. So I achieved what I wanted to achieve. The prickles went in the bin. Then I went in and I mixed myself up a nice solution of weed killer and my little trusty spray thingy-majiggy. And out I went. And the weed killer I used, the 0, has got a blue. Fudgy wants to hop down. I might just help him. Hop down, puss. So the weed killer has it's really blue when you mix it up, so you can sort of see, we're supposed to sort of see where you've been then. Not that you can really see, because once it's sprayed onto green, blue disappears. But anyway, someone thought it was a good idea. So I'm out there with my blue spray, spraying this stuff around. So at least the neighbours would have said, oh good, she's thought about her scissors idea and is now spraying. I bet they thought that was funny. They'll be all talking about me. Those people from Brisbane, they're out there cutting their weeds back with scissors. That's what they'll all be saying. I've got a few families around me that are family, you know, relatives. And they've said to me a couple of times, oh, you guys are the talk of the town. And the main thing was our house took so long to build. You know, the house near the lake, it just took forever to build. Those poor people, that's what they're all saying. So they definitely have a little chinwag around town about what's news. It's typical small towns, but I'm used to that because I grew up in a small farming town. So I can always recall my parents saying that everyone's news was everyone's news. So now they'll be like, did you see that? Did you see the lady over near the lake? She's cutting weeds with scissors. There we go, last stitch, look at that. So there you go, we got rid of it. It is gone. All right. Now, so I've put a little bit through the throat there and then sort of followed the shape of those little leaves. Gosh, I love stitching irises. I just think they're beautiful. Absolute beautiful flower. So what have we got here? This feels like a pearl cotton. I wonder if we could weave a bit of this. I sort of round the bottom of that leaf, I think I want to put those beads. It's really dark, but I think I could do a little bit of weaving through there. Or do I take it up into there? It's really, see, look at the elbow everywhere. She's old. She feels really crispy. I don't know if I should use this. It's settling down now that I'm running it through my hands a little. Yeah, it is settling down. Okay, we'll give it a go. Yeah, so that's relaxed. Just give it a massage. Probably the warmth from my fingers too is helping. There's my needle. I wonder if we weave these top petals. Gee, that'd be an epic task. Would be so worth it. Even if I don't have enough of this thread, which I don't, I could get the first stitch down for the weaving. Yeah, we're going to do it. Let's give it a go. And then if I find a paler purple, it would have a mottled effect. So let's get this stitch down. I can bury it up in under that ribbon where I can. She's an old girl. I can see part of that thread there is breaking down. So probably weaving is a good solution because it'll be supported by another thread. So I think my thread I come back through and weave over. I'm going to have to try and get this underneath that ribbon. There we go. I've made it hard for myself by having the ribbon embroidery there, but take your time. You can always squeeze stitches in under other stitches. I love mixing up stitches on a flower because there's no rules with flowers. There's no rules with animals either, but at least with an animal, you've got to make it look like the animal you're intending to. But with flowers, there's a real creative license to it. Fudge is looking for Dad. He's gone off. Where's Dad? He's not out of bed yet. Oh. We have to go to town today, into Harvey Bay. We're doing a few chores around the house and the drill was here with a battery pack, and my husband quickly grabbed a spare battery pack and he thought he grabbed the charger, but he didn't. So we've left Brisbane without the charger, and now we have 2 flat battery packs, no charger, end of task. It was so funny. I went and got the spare battery out of the car to give to him, and I said, "Oh, did you put the charger in?" He goes, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "Gosh, I hope so, because we're going to need it." 5 minutes goes by, and the battery I gave him is an old battery, and it just didn't go long. It came to a grinding halt, and sure enough, there's no battery charger. So I've got that stitched in there. I'm seriously considering going through here at this angle. So then when I weave, this would be that way, that would be that way, and this can go straight up. And I've got plenty of thread, so I'm going to do it. So yeah, he's like the battery. Oh, Pussy's running through the house. Pussy's having a zoomie. So the battery's dead. The old battery is dead. There's no charger to be found. And my husband's one of those fellows that's very precise. Everything he does is well considered. He's not like me. I'm a harebrain. I'm more adventurous. I'm more scatterbrainy. Where everything that Gaz does is well considered and planned. And it's quite amusing to see when he stuffs up, let's call it a stuff up, it really bugs him, where I'm like, oh, typical. Like I expect it. He doesn't expect it. But he does stuff up. Hello, Fudge. Fudge's tail is massive. He's just done zoomies through the room. He's now walking back towards me. What could possibly go wrong now? Fudgy? Yes. He's gone looking for Dad, hasn't found him, so has come back to do zoomies. His tail's like a bristle. Oh, push, push. That one's a bit wayward. I think I can sneak back here and place one. So yes, it was very amusing. And when you've got someone who's very accurate about things, very precise about things, you've got to be careful with your heckling, don't you? Because it really gets under their skin, more so than probably me, who'd go, yeah, I'm not surprised, and yes, you might as well heckle because this is pretty standard. Hey, Fudgy. So I'm trying very hard to be good because, you know, I've got him doing 100 little tasks. He's got a list. Well, I've got the list. I dare not give him the list because that would just be too much. So I'm trying very hard not to, you know, have a go. so funny. I was giggling under my breath. And it was really hot too, so we were quite hot and bothered, and we just had a few little snappy bits at each other. You know, I had my opinion on the task and how it should be going, and he had already thought it out, had planned it, had purchased the materials for it, and that was the plan. And I decided that it could be better if we did this, or maybe this, and it was hot. And he was like, no, I've already figured this out. It's going to be this. And then the more I thought about it after that, I was like, yeah, he's probably right. That would be better to stay with the plan. So I knew, hello, Fudgy. So I knew he was like, oh, see, I'm right. He doesn't say it, but he was thinking it. So when the drill incident happened, it was quite amusing. And I really wanted to rub it in, but I thought, no. We're going to have some class and we're going to just let it go, because these things happen. We're in a mad rush to get on the road. So we sit down. Then, because it was so hot and we were very hot and sweaty, so I went in and had a shower, and he's like come into the bedroom and he's like freshened up his face and, you know, tidied up a little. And I said, have a shower, freshen up. No, I don't need a shower. Yes, you do need a shower. You can't be sitting on my couch all hot and sweaty. So there was this debate about having a shower. And he's like, I don't need a shower. I'm not dirty. I just got a bit of perspiration. I'll have a shower later. So I've chucked the tanty. He's then left the room. Oh, it's hilarious. It should be a comedy show. Anyway, I come back into the lounge room and he'd got himself a towel and he'd put the towel on the chair that he was sitting on and was, you know, relaxing with a cold drink. So no one won, but everyone won. You know what I mean? So it was quite amusing. I didn't say anything. I didn't heckle. I didn't go, oh, I don't know. You never know what to say sometimes, do you? Because, you know, you get people to do what you want. And you can see you've clearly annoyed them. It's quite funny. So we're off to town to buy a charger. So we're sitting on the couch having cooled off with a cold beverage in our hands. And we're like, oh, well, we better just jump on Google and see what's available. It's one of those, it's a DeWalt battery we need, charger. But sometimes the charger you can buy in a kit with other appliances, apparently. This is like someone like myself going to a fabric store and you're seeing other packages, or, you know, you go in there for wadding and you come out with fabric. This is what's going to happen. So we're looking at chargers, and I found a charger which wasn't even in stock in Hervey Bay. We'd have to drive through to Maryborough to get it for $159. And then you start looking at some of the kits, and for $230 you get a charger, 2 batteries and a power tool. So once you start looking down that rabbit hole, for $300 you get this, for $400 you get this. It just never ends. And I was sort of giggling to myself because he spent an hour or two researching it all, and he looked at Bunnings, trade tools, some smaller businesses in town. So he's got his head around the whole lot, and I'll be interested to see what comes home, whether it be just a charger or we've been upsold and we're going to come home with a power drill, a reciprocator saw, a hammer drill. See, these are all the words I heard being bandied around, which I thought was quite amusing. Oh my goodness, I tell you, the power tool industry. So what I'm thinking now is I'm going to need to find a thread to weave through that. That's too fine. I've got a little bit of scrap left, but not enough to do the job. So I'm going to leave that for a moment because I can't see anything that complements it close by. I see too dark. Completely different purple. And then when I look into my little stash that I packed up for this project, oh, that one might work. Oh, now Fudgy wants to come up for a cuddle. Oh, Fudgy bee. You're very clingy. Eh? You're very clingy, Fudge. You're not going to be happy here because I'm not sitting still. Down you go. I wonder if I could use that. That's just the wrong colour. I think, guys, this one will do it. It's very fine, so it will be laborious. So stay tuned on the drill story. I hope I remember to tell you. I might save it for when I film another episode of this, and then you'll remember the iris and the drill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up through the middle here. At this point's where you decide your angles. And when you've got a petal, angles do matter. Do we go across and keep that straight look? But we do have an opportunity to come through at a bit of an angle, which I'm thinking I might, just to get that bit of a curve, because these stitches here are going up. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So being that this is old thread that we've laid down, I'm going to turn my needle around and use that blunt end to find my way through. And it's over, under. The good old weaving. Go to bed, Fudge. There we go. And there's one there. Might head to that corner there. Don't you jump up. And then we anchor that stitch so that it doesn't go anywhere. Then we come up next to it. And then do the opposite of the over and the unders, and that's it. And then once you start laying down a few rows, it gets really, Fudgy wants to jump up again. Once you lay down a few rows, it gets really dense and just beautiful. So if you haven't done this before, draw yourself a simple flower on something, an old scrap, and have a go. Oh, Fudgy again. He wants me to stop and go and sit on the couch and have a cuddle. That's what Fudgy wants. Now see how they're nowhere near each other? You just manipulate them down. And as the more you put in, the more stitches, it sort of settles down on top of each other. Becomes nice and dense. Having said that, you could leave it. Oh yeah, you could leave it that far apart too. You don't have to have them close together. And that creates a real lattice work. It's really pretty as well. But I'm going to keep them reasonably close together. Just manipulate them to each other. I start locking in. Meow meow. Over, under, over, under. He's going to jump up. He's circling the table, for goodness sakes. The stress of it. It's old thread. I've got to take my time. I think it's going to be wanting to sit apart. Maybe it's because I've got a big thread versus a little thread, and the two are sort of not wanting to nestle. But I do like that. It's creating a bit of a lattice work feel. Oh, I like it. I'm just going to let the thread tell me what to do. I'm not going to force it. All right, let's do one more row across and then I'm going to move on to something else because otherwise we'll be here all day. 40 minutes already, so we've got 20 minutes left. So we want to go under, over, under, over, under, and we're through. And anchor it down. And then just manipulate that down. Oh, I love it. One more row. I can't stop. I think you're going to get the general gist very quickly here of how it's going to look finished. I wonder if Gaz would swing by a spotlight. There's a new spotlight in town. We've been upgraded Hervey Bay and I haven't been to it yet. And if we're going to buy power drills, it's only fair we swing by a spotlight, isn't it? Is that manipulation? Am I manipulating the circumstances of the day? Definitely. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I'd hoped to get to Boxing Day sales at Spotlight at Hervey Bay, but just didn't get there. Probably a good thing. You only buy stuff you don't need. All right. I thought I was going to stop, but I haven't stopped, guys. Sorry, we're weaving. Let's just have a look at what we've got happening here. We're going to go under, over, under, over, under. There we go. Oh, I love weaving. I think it's so pretty. Thank you, Anne, when she did the 52 tags. That's when I experienced weaving in the form of embroidery, and yeah, genius. It's amazing what you can do with stitches and threads now. We've just been, it's like a revolution going on, I think. The fine embroidery days, which was my childhood, and feeling inadequate because your embroidery just wasn't fine. It was pretty clunky because you were just a child. And now we've got this slow stitch movement going on where try everything, anything goes, add texture, add different elements. Oh, it's like the whole painting in thread. It's great. And bringing paints into our work. The mixed media phase was there for a while and it was just paper and paint. Now paint's coming across into our thread work. You can stitch paper into your thread work. It's brilliant. There we go. I don't think, I might get another row. I've come right up to the top there and I just might get a little, no, I don't want to force it. It's old thread too. I don't want to, rupture anything. There we go. So what I'll do is I'll finish it off. I'll then come back down the bottom and finish this off and then start the weaving through there. Oh, love it. So just to keep the video interesting, what I might do is a bit of beading. So where's my Reginald? Reg, here he is, or at least it's Reg's cousin. And what I want to do is pop a few beads into the top up here, in amongst those stitches and that ribbon. I just feel like we could handle a few beads. And I'm thinking some of these, I'm not sure how many, maybe we only do a few, because some French knots would be nice up there as well. So technically 2 stitches through every bead. And even then, Jennifer showed us doing then a stitch through the fabric after you've secured your bead as well, as another technique. I'm just going to try and do the 2 stitches through the bead. That's how my grandmother taught me when she was stitching beads onto wedding dresses. But having said that, you know, I was only a child, so maybe she did that anchor stitch as well that Jennifer showed us. So maybe Grandma's up there in heaven going, gee girl, you did not listen. There was the anchor stitch. It sort of makes sense. When I saw Jennifer do it, I thought, yeah, that's a lot of work, especially if you were beading a bodice on a wedding dress. I could sort of see that that would be probably recommended. Now, I'm not making these beads stand up in any particular fashion. I'm just scattering them, because I think I am going to come back through and do some little French knots in there, just so that it breaks it up a little bit and it's not so solid. And I might find a thread that is muted purple like the ribbon, just to blend all of these purples together a little bit. Is what. So I'm going to jump up higher now on that. Yeah. Just a smattering. And then up here. Yep. I can hear the little willy wagtail that lives in the bush at the back of our block. But he comes up to the window and gives Fudge a bit of a lippin'. Fudge is in his hammock on the window. And I can hear Willie, he's outside giving Fudge a bit of a dust up. Fudge is just sitting there, he's not even reacting. What can a cat do when he's in his hammock inside behind glass? Just observe. Fudge doesn't get outside time, and if he does, it's just a little walk, just to make him feel like he's had outside time, and then I bring him back in. Well, he comes in anyway, he just doesn't He'll have a stretch, a lay in the sun, and then he comes back in and crawls into bed. He's just not really a hunter cat. The bird or the animal that he would grab would literally have to walk past his nose while he's stretching out in the morning sun. That's how enthusiastic he is about all of that business. But I guess I don't give him the opportunity to, so, you know, he doesn't really spend hours outside where he could get up to mischief and start catching lizards and poor little critters. He's always had his own space and it's comfortable, and there we go. So just scattering these little beads. A couple more. I need to check the time. I don't know what time it is. How am I going? I think that's probably enough there. So I'll just end that off. I'll have a look at the time, and if we're run out of time, I will mosey on. If we've got time, I think French knots would be in order. Oh, we've got time. I've got 9 minutes. Let's have a look. I sort of want them. Oh, let's use this. I didn't think this colour would work, actually, for anything that we're doing. But I'm thinking it might just be the shimmer, but a muted shimmer to drag together a shiny bead and a muted ribbon. Let's see. Let's pop a couple French knots. Or do we do some bullion knots? Yes. Oh yeah. It's giving us a nice textured little random top to our petal. No, we're not doing a French knot. We're doing a bullion knot, so we need to lay it in like that. They are fiddly, but just give them a go, guys, because they're a nice stitch to add to your repertoire. And you'll sort of get used to the process and you'll adjust your fingers as needed. You know, sort of your instinct kicks in. There we go. That's really cool. Happy with that, guys. It's just added that little bit of interest there. I don't think anyone will ever notice that I've done that, but I will if I stop for a moment to really look at a flower that I've done on this piece. I'm going to see them and go, oh, look at that. I did bullion knots. How clever. I think if I could get one in beside that bead was to stand up and get him up underneath there. You don't want to pierce the thread. There we go. Because that's just more you've got to drag through when you pull the knot into position. It can give you a little bit of trouble. There we go. Oh, how gorgeous. So I'm pleased I did basket weave for those two petals because that top petal has become quite intricate and detailed and fussy. So to have a simpler petal either side of it and then all this crazy busy in there, I think's really good. I think I want to bring a little bit of yellow into here as well. I really would like some yellow beads, but I don't have any. Maybe I need yellow beads from Spotlight and a drill charger from a tool shop. So I might leave it at that, guys. How are we going for time? Oh, we've got 5 minutes. Let's do a little bit of beading around this bottom corner. Everything else I'll just stitch in with a mixture of threads using long and short stitch or split back stitch, those types of stitches. I wish I had some nice purple lace. I would have built in some lace in there, but I had a look through my colours and there was just nothing that suited the tone. So I've given up on that whole idea. So I might just start up here on this dark little edge with a couple stitches just to anchor that, and then pick up a couple of beads and stitch them down. I could even mix. Not a fan of doing 2 beads at one time because they wriggle around a bit, but if you're patient and get that second stitch through, you can then get them seated. It makes it a bit quicker if you want to bead quicker. Well, you can do 2 or 3 beads together, but you do need to try and get them to sit because they can be a bit wriggly. Where if you just do the 1 bead at a time, you've got complete control over your placement of them. So what I'm thinking is if I keep my beads to the perimeter here of that patchy spot, then I come back on the inside edge of it and do some French knots up into here. Then I could even do French knots all through here. That'd be a bit different. So outline it with the beads. Talk about make work for myself. But it's all good. It's all good. Give me something to play with, won't it? The more work I create, the more stitching I can do. So I'm just putting a little bit of space now between those beads. I don't want a linear line. I just want to outline but not an outline. Does that make sense? Probably not. And I'll just kick in a little bit there because it's not a nice straight perimeter to the petal. The artist has blended paints and that. I sort of need to keep my beads a little bit that way too. Otherwise I'm reinventing the shape of the petal and I'm going to lose that nice ethereal feel. So now I'm kicking back out to the edge again. Okay. Gone quiet because I'm chasing beads around. Okay. Well, we must be nearly on the hour now. Goodness. I think we've got a good plan of attack for my iris at the top of the page here, or the top of the piece. And just finish down to the stem. I'm glad I did that stem with that gold thread because it's really helped convince my eye that the glittery gold in the two bindings works with it. Just having that little touch there. I'm not totally finished, I don't think, with gold. I might come back at the very end and put some more little gold highlight stitches around the place just to sort of blend it all together. I don't know, we'll see. So there's my boundary line there. I'm not convinced I should continue along. I think that might look too obvious. I might come up over here to the side and do a little bit around that corner, but we'll see. And then I still do like that French knot idea, and I don't mind the idea that it's in a very pale thread, like really pale lavender. I might have to go hunting to see if I even have that. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. There we go. Let's bring it up to the camera. You can see those beads there outlining that little shape. Yeah, that basket weave's really happy with that. It's going to add a nice feel to the top of that flower. I've got something random happening there, very organised there. And we'll see what comes of the bottom. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. That's my hour. And you guys have a lovely day. I'm off to buy a battery charger with, on my guess, a lot of accessories that come with it, because you know how it goes. And I think that's my angle then to get into Spotlight and potentially find myself some beads, because I would love some orange beads and some yellow beads and some bright pink beads. I haven't yet found anything in my stash that's even close to the vibrancy of this piece. So I feel like I need to, maybe I should look at some blue beads. I might pop this in a little bag and take it with me, because I don't know, I just don't have the brightness I need. There's a little bit here, but they're just not quite right. Like the blue is sort of okay, but not okay. I really would love some beads like that, or that. All right. That's just the blue jay, and that's before I look into, you know, I could probably put red beads in that flower. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a lovely day. I hope you get some stitching done, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.